If you've been saving for a number of years, maybe you see your investment accounts building up, but aren't quite sure, hey, am I really hitting on all the things that I need to? Today's plan share could provide some assistance in items to look at for your own situation. So today's person here is Joshua, California. And not only are we going to look at California's situation today, but we're also going to look at kind of down the road how downsizing and things of that nature can come into play when you're looking at a one-on-one planning situation. So first for Joshua, California, let's look at his net worth. We'll point out some items that are good, some items that maybe need to be adjusted, and some items that could potentially be issues down the road. So for him first, the first great thing that jumps off the page is that he has money in all of these different buckets here. So we have money in our bank accounts for our emergency fund. We have money in our taxable investments bucket. So this is kind of your flexible bucket. It's money that's invested, that should be growing long term, but at the same time, it's fully flexible. You can touch it whenever you need to. So if you have a car break or you need a home improvement or you're retiring early, this is money that does not have any penalty for jumping in and taking some of it. The next bucket here that he has, the last of the three main buckets, I should say, are his retirement accounts. Right, so he has an IRA. So a lot of you out there might have an IRA. IRA is money that is growing tax deferred. So when you pull money out, you're going to pay tax on it. At the same time, it's growing, which is great too. But when you take money out of it, you need to be at least 59.5. Otherwise, you're going to get hit with a 10% penalty. So again, the government is saying, hey, you will tax incentivize it, but you need to really not touch it until retirement age. Same thing goes here for this Roth IRA. Here it's growing tax-free, which is even better, right? Rather not pay taxes on it at all. However, at the same time, again, it has limited flexibility. So if you take money out before 59.5, boom, you're going to get hit with that penalty again, that 10% penalty. So right off the bat, Joshua, hey, that's great that you have money in all of these different, three main buckets here: emergency fund bucket, your taxable account bucket, flexible account bucket, and these longer term retirement buckets as well. So that's a real benefit. Overall, you might say, hey, that's great that he has over $900,000 worth of assets. At the same time, you could see this 550 in real estate is making up the majority of that. So pie chart says about 60% of his situation, or of his assets, are in real estate. So again, now when we're looking at this here and we have almost 60% in real estate, for him, that's a lot of his assets, right? So unless he's planning on selling his home or downsizing in the future, he's not going to really be able to touch that money. Even when this mortgage is paid off down the road, most of his assets here are going to be tied up at this point in real estate, which again, can be fine, but at the same point, it is money that is illiquid. He can't touch it. So the money that at this point in time, that's definitely going to be liquid, are just these three buckets here. And so that initial amount that says, hey, I have 350, 360 in total investments, 360,000, that's all well and good. At the same time, when you overlay that with, hey, this has to last you for the rest of your life, that puts a little bit of a different tone on top of it. So it's really, how does this all come together for somebody's situation? Now, for you, if you're looking at this, these are the things to be looking at. Hey, do I have money in my emergency fund? Do I have any money in a flexible account? Do I have any money in these retirement accounts, both regular IRA, Roth IRA, growing tax-free? Do I have that situated? How much of my net worth is tied up in this home equity piece of it? And if I'm not planning on downsizing, this is money that essentially I'm never going to be able to touch down the road. So those are things to look at. It's also great to see that he has a little bit of a different risk tolerance situation going on for his different buckets, right? So his individual account here is invested moderately. So again, flexible account, he might need to touch this. So having a little bit less aggressive generally makes sense. Same thing with these IRAs. If he's comfortable being aggressive, then this most likely would allow him to be in a position to realize the most gains long term. So again, aggressive could very well be appropriate for him for these buckets. So those are all good things. But again, that home equity piece of it, that would be the one thing that if I was looking at his situation, if this was real life, wanted to make sure that all of this is coming together appropriately for him. Jumping into a planning situation here, now you can kind of see how in a one-on-one situation, what are the things that we might be looking for or looking at? So here overall, let me blow up his expenses here. Interesting to see here how this purple piece here, these are his expenses. The purple piece are taxes here. So when you are earning income and you're working, the taxes work differently than when you're getting Social Security income. When you're getting pension income, the taxes on those can be different. So you can see here in this situation for Joshua, the taxes pretty much drop off completely when he retires here in 2040 because of those different sources of income that he's now living on, making taxes drop off. So that's a really interesting point for him to be aware of. Additionally, you can see secure income, which is made up of Social Security, made up of pension income. For him, it's making up the vast majority of his expense needs in these early years here. So again, that is a real benefit to his situation. Now, if he's wanting to, say, retire early here, so let me turn that on, retiring at age 60 instead of down the road further, now you can see how that gap widens, right? That gap is now bigger because Social Security is not going to grow as long if you're taking it earlier and you're not working as long. Pension income might not be as high either if you're putting in less working years. So now we have more of a gap, and that's where downsizing can be a really advantageous situation or technique for people, because now when you downsize, what you're going to see up here in this cash flow box is this big, nice bar. Big bars are usually good. So that big bar now is more money that's available to Joshua to be drawing from now. So, hey, yeah, the income gap is more here for secure income for what he needs, but now we also have a lot more to draw from if we're downsizing. So hopefully this has been interesting and helpful for things to look at both for yourself and how planning on a one-on-one situation can kind of expand what you're looking at, both expenses and taxes and secure income, cash flow, all those kinds of good things. So stay tuned for more plan shares to come.